Those of you that are on our platform, our webinar platform, welcome. We are so excited to see you guys and have everybody here. We are going to dive right in. We're going to cover a couple of housekeeping items before we get into the really exciting content that we have for you today. So as we talk about the battle of for Facebook engagement, the first thing that you want to do is if you're having trouble hearing us, you're going to want to check your speakers. Make sure that volume's turned up and that you don't have us muted. So make sure that's what's going on. If you've got speakers that you want to have check. If you're still having problems, you're going to want to also try refreshing your browser. So this is specifically for those of you using our webinar platform. Always a good idea to do that. If you're still having problems, send us a question in the Q&A or hop over to Facebook Live, right? So the other great thing we were just talking about with those of you that were joining us on Facebook is that there's multiple ways to ask us questions in this webinar. So if you're on our platform, ask us in the Q&A. It's there on the left side of your screen, I think just to the left of me. You'll be able to ask your questions. You can always email us at webinars@vivial.net. Or if you're on Facebook Live, as we talked about, you're gonna go ahead and just put that question right there in the comments, and our friends behind the scenes will make sure we get those questions to us. So I think that about covers the housekeeping items. We've got some great information, so let's get down to it. But first and foremost, let's introduce you to the experts we've got here today. I am your moderator. I am Laura Redder. I am the Manager of Marketing and Communications here at Vivial.
Hi everyone, I'm Nehemiah Benson. I'm a Senior Marketing Consultant here at Vivial.
Hi, I'm Carla Lamb. I am also a Senior Marketing Consultant here at Vivial.
Yeah, my name's Chris. I'm a Client Services Supervisor here at Vivial.
So now that you know who you're talking to, let's dive right in. Facebook, huge deal. You know it's a big deal. We know it's a big deal. That's why you're here today. That's why we're here today. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about why Facebook is such a big deal and how did it become such a big deal, Chris?
Well, it became such a big deal over time, and it was kind of a gradual change there. I think we all know there used to be just one option, just the phone book. It's evolved. There have been billboards and signage and things like that. Then we went into the online world. There's websites and SEO and SEM. There are multiple options, and in those multiple options, Facebook has become one of them. It really came into the forefront when people started to realize there's 2 billion active users on Facebook right now. That is a gigantic pool of people that you can't neglect. So it became a big deal for your business and went from a place of asking your friends what you're doing on the weekend or staying in touch and things like that to connecting with consumers on a business level. So it's been gradual, but it's jumped into the forefront here recently.
Now, is Facebook a platform for any business, even the ones that think they don't have anything that's exciting or a business like that?
Absolutely. I mean, out of those 2 billion users, those are consumers. We're all consumers, right? So it doesn't have to be like a flashy business, something that seems extra exciting.
Sure.
Any business, any type of service you provide is going to have a valuable spot on Facebook.
Okay, so now Facebook has been in the news a lot lately, so we know it's important, we know it's a huge deal, we know that it's a huge pool of people that are active, we know it's for all these different businesses, but the question right now becomes, has Facebook gotten too much power? Do they have too much of our information? And what does that mean for the future of Facebook?
Listen, Facebook does have a lot of our information. It has been in the news, and we all know that. But there's pros and cons to it, and I think we need to dive into that a little. We put ourselves out there, and as consumers, as potential consumers, I think we need to take some of the onus to it as well. I personally have actively given my information to Facebook and other sites online and put myself at risk. What that's also done on a pro side is enabled myself to get a very personalized experience.
Sure.
There's so many things that I never would have known about, never would have experienced without a catered message being brought to me based on my interactions, based on what I've done outside of Facebook and things like that. So listen, they do have a lot of our information, but there's pros and cons to it, and we need to keep that in mind. The big thing to keep in mind as well is that it has been on the news, and so people are aware of it. It's not a secret, which means it's only going to get better.
Sure. I mean, and do you think it's really going to be keeping consumers off of Facebook?
Not at all, because and the purpose of this webinar is to talk about how Facebook can be used for businesses as a tool. And you think of any tool, like a general contractor has a lot of tools that they use, and any one of them, they have to know how to use it, and they have to know how to be safe with those
Sure.
tools. So Facebook is the same thing. It's a tool that businesses can use, but they need to be educated on how to do it and how to safely do so. So that's something that they can use to benefit their business.
Right. So we know that Facebook is important. We know it's got a lot of information. We know it's got a ton of consumers. So we know it's useful. And I think bottom line is whether they have too much of our information or not, things are changing. Times are changing. Things are changing. But also, it's not going anywhere, right? But as users change, as the data issues change, there's other changes that we've been hearing about on Facebook, which I think is what has brought a lot of you guys here today, is to understand really what are these algorithm changes that are coming, and what are the new, what do you need to know as a business about these new algorithm updates?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the thing that you need to know is as you navigate this new tool that you have as a business, that you may not have a ton of experience with it, it may be with the new algorithm updates, it's made it a little more challenging to navigate that road. But just like I said, I put myself out there to get this catered experience. By making it a little more challenging for businesses to connect with customers, it's also allowing you to go after just the customers that you need and get that catered experience, and it allows you to make sure that you're using your time wisely. So by making it a little more of a bumpy road along the way, you're going to get a better result out of it. So again, in the end, I mean, algorithm has made it a little more difficult, but ultimately it's at the benefit of its consumers, it's at the benefit of businesses if you're using that tool correctly.
But what's really the intent behind these algorithm changes, and how can understanding that intent, how can that help us as businesses know how to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, the intent behind that is to, again, keep you kind of safe, and it is the intent to make sure that you are using it wisely. You're not spamming customers and things like that.
Connections,
so,
right? Making connections.
Yep, exactly. Just getting connected with your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of customizing the kind of audience you're looking for.
Right, so try to create meaningful engagements with consumers and bring more value to the consumers, right? Getting back to what Facebook has been about at its core, which is making those connections, whether it's between friends or between consumers and businesses, right? So I think one of the things that we've been talking about in preparation for this is that idea that it's not meant to make it harder on businesses, right? It's putting the onus on businesses to be more authentic, right, and more natural and organic about their engagements with consumers. So it's putting the pressure if you will, but not really, it shouldn't even be pressure, on us as businesses to be creating quality, engaging content that brings value to our consumers, and therefore they're going to want to engage with that content. And ultimately, this is good news because most of you businesses out there, if you're doing things right and have been doing things right and are providing good quality products and services, you're probably already doing this, and it's just going to take a little boost to make sure that you're doing more.
Yeah, we already talked about 2 billion users, and out of those, people are really catching on that this can be a tool that can be used for their businesses. And the more that catch on with that, well, then there's a responsibility Facebook has to have to how do we regulate that and keep people from just getting spammed to death. And, and with all the unnecessary stuff that some of the less, a little more, the businesses that we don't respect as much are going to do that.
Right.
But how do we see the ones that are really doing things right? Well,
right.
That's what Facebook is creating with these algorithms.
Right. Just to kind of prevent users from the mindless scroll, right?
Right.
Scrolling along just till I see a picture of a baby or a puppy or whatever. Get that good quality content in there.
And we can relate it when we think back to Google. I mean, Google bases what they show up on a Google search off of trust.
Right.
Similar to Facebook, what they're going to do is they're going to be looking for those customers they can trust, those businesses they can trust, and that's what's going to be showing up on your feed now, and they're putting some rules and some regulations behind it to see who should we trust, who should we not trust.
Well, trust, relevance, and authority, right?
Yep.
And the kind of the big three that we talk about when we talk about search engine optimization and ranking better in the search, trust, authority, and relevance. The only way that you can establish those is by consistently posting quality content that is relevant, right, to your business. Those Happy St. Patrick's Day posts really don't do anything beyond, showing a presence. They really don't demonstrate trust, relevance, or authority, right?
Yep, exactly, yeah.
Right. So what we're going to be doing for you guys today is we're going to be digging into this a little bit more. So here we've kind of addressed those algorithm changes, but I think we've probably all seen and heard the news about these algorithm changes. So what you're really wanting to know, I'm sure, is what can I do as a business owner or operator? What can I do to make sure that I continue to stay relevant, I continue to stay visible in the news feeds of the people I want to be in front of? So we're going to go through some do's and don'ts, and we're going to talk to you about some really specific ideas that you can use. So we're not going to go through them and tip our hat just yet, but I want you to pay attention as we go through the webinar. Keep your eyes and ears open. We'll be highlighting the do's and don'ts. Keep your pen ready. So we've also got 2 downloads that we have prepared for you guys. The first is our Facebook battle plan, the list of do's and don'ts. So we go into a lot more detail in that download than we'll have time to do today. So you'll definitely want to get that. It'll be a great companion to what you learn in the webinar today. The second download is our victories that we've seen. So we're going to give you awesome ideas for how to put those do's and don'ts into practice in your own business by giving you examples of customers of our own and actually some instances where we at Vivial have put these into practice and shown awesome victories. So what you're going to want to do, if you're on 24, you'll see the downloads there on your dashboard. This is where if you are on Facebook Live, you'll just want to comment download in the comments, and we'll make sure you get the download after the webinar. So you'll want to get those. Also, as a reminder, you can ask questions anytime, whether you're on Facebook Live or on 24. On 24, just type them in the Q&A. If you're on Facebook Live, just type them in that comment section, and we will be answering at the end. We've saved a lot of time to answer your questions because we're here for you. We're going to tell you what we think you need to know, but then we want to know what your questions are. So we'll definitely save time for that. Also, if you guys are watching right now, you will qualify for a special offer. We'll tip our hat as to what that is here a little later, but we'll be offering a pretty cool free product with purchase that is going to actually really do a lot to help you see great engagement on Facebook. So without further ado, let's jump into a lot of the really meat and potatoes of what we're talking about today. So we hear a lot of times, especially in this conversation about engagement, there's been this constant battle with, how many followers do I need, or I don't have many followers. Is a following important these days, or is it really more about engagement? Which is more important, reach or engagement?
I can speak to that because what you're really asking is quality versus quantity. Mm-hmm. And we'd probably all agree that you kind of need both.
Sure.
To get the quality, you have to have quantity. So what really is going to matter is the engagement and the results that you get from that reach. But to accomplish that engagement, you need a large reach. You gotta reach a lot of people.
Sure.
And you gotta reach the right kind of people. I'd rather have 10 people following me and following my Facebook business page that are truly interested in what I do than have 100 people that know nothing about me and only like me for some other superfluous reason.
Sure.
So it's all about the quality, but to get that, again, you got to have a good reach. So I would say they're both important.
Yeah.
Both equally important. I mean, you have to have that strong organic presence so
Sure.
that people, if you're boosting a post or you're promoting something, an event, an activity, some kind of special offer, you want to make sure that when they do find that and see that in their newsfeed, when they click on that page, and then they can kind of check you out and say, oh, okay, well, they're staying relevant.
Mm-hmm.
They posted, a couple weeks ago, and a week, so there you have to find that balance.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure you're, again, staying relevant and current so
Sure.
your clients see that.
Chris, I think we've talked about that idea of exposure and needing to, if you're a brick and mortar store, you want somebody in your store before they can make a purchase, right? So
Yep.
there is value in that, is there not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, it is a bit of a balance, and you want to have both of them. But like Nehemiah said, having 10 people that are really engaged, that are going to purchase from you, going to spend some money with you, is very important. But I think it goes to finding your voice on Facebook a little bit as well. We talked about, a St. Patrick's Day post, something that's just fun and lighthearted, having a nice balance. That kind of post might get good reach and get clicked on a lot, and it's not going to be super engaged with, though, because it's not a real heavy, dense type of post.
Sure.
That gives a lot of information about your business. But then you need to balance that with some real heavy posts that really engage the client. So it is a balance for both. I mean, I'll tell you, having a little bit of both will also help translate to Google. I mean, we've all seen searches on Google right now that a Facebook page shows up when I search for a contractor.
Right.
That's not by coincidence. That contractor is going to have a consistency in their posts and in their reach and things like that. And then they're going to have these more meaty posts that have good engagement, that people are clicking on, sharing, things like that. So it is a balance versus both. So when we say, which one's more important, you almost can't pinpoint just which one's more important, but I would say at the end of the day, I really want people engaging, and I really want, I like both, to be honest.
And we'll share some tips later on, I think, on how to increase that reach to give you the opportunity for more engagement. So I think what it really boils down to for us is talking about, when we hear questions of how many followers do I need, or I only have 10 followers, there are ways around that. There's ways that we can help you grow your following or grow your reach even without necessarily growing your following. We can get your business in front of more people, and we'll talk about some of that here later. But really the reach, when we're talking about reach, that's when posting regularly kind of helps. It gives you that foundation, right? And then you can come along with the highly engaging posts to kind of provide some meat to what your foundation is. So I'm going to bring in right now, pick up your pens, I'm going to bring in one of our specific do's and don'ts. One do is we want you posting regularly. That's going to contribute to your ability to just show a good, strong, steady presence, right? And going to give you an opportunity to gradually increase your reach. We talked about this idea of engagement as well, but we're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but we really want to be talking about the type of engagement, right? So I think we have a question later on where we're going to talk about quality engagement and what that means, but really you want to be generating that quality engagement, and there's some ways that you can do that. I'm going to slip in one of our don'ts here before we move on to the next topic, but one of the don'ts also is don't forget about video, because we were just talking about this. I know it sounds a little out of context here, but we talk a lot about video's ability to have good reach and good engagement. It's something that's really going to boost that engagement, right? Video is something that's super important.
Yeah, and there's stats behind that too.
Right.
Statistically, a post with video is going to attract a lot more engagement,
A lot more
action.
shares.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we all talk about things have changed. So, times have changed, things like that. So when you say don't forget about video, don't forget that the best camera I have is right here in my pocket. And I can pick it up and for 15 seconds run something about my business. That's going to increase the engagement on my Facebook post, extremely high. It's going to throw it way up there. So don't forget to use your resources, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think to my point, we're going to talk about that later, but talk a little bit more about the quality of the engagements you're getting later. But I think video is a great example of a type of content you can be using that is going to get great engagement and therefore increase your reach, right? Because how often do you see videos shared on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Videos are shared massively. Videos are what, to your point, go viral. You very rarely see other types of content going viral. So don't forget about video, because it is super important. This is where I'm going to share with you guys some really exciting news. Right now, as a webinar attendee, you will have a special offer where you will have the ability to purchase one of our platform packages and get a free promotional video, a starter promotional video that we will produce for you and distribute it on Facebook so that you guys can see the power of video as an engagement tool that can then also generate a lot more reach for you. So that's really, really awesome.
That's huge, yeah.
But when we're talking about this, I think what's really cool is you'll see in our free download with the victories that we're sharing, we share a really cool victory of a client that used video. But one of the really cool things is they used it and they promoted that post through Facebook advertising. So that said, which is more important, organic posts or these paid posts, these promoted posts through Facebook? Which one is more important?
Yeah, I'd say that we go back to a balance. It's got to be a balance of both. You want to not post mindlessly and just get all these posts out there. But that is your organic presence, so you want to definitely have some consistency. But then when you have these great posts that have a good purpose behind them, that's when you might want to throw some money at it. That's why we want to push that in front of more people, because that's going to help grow your reach, help get you more followers and things like that. It's also going to help you get a return on investment on that.
I'm going to time you out for right there for a second. Pick up your pens again. Chris just dropped one of our other big don'ts, and that is don't post mindlessly. So far we've got don't forget about video. Do post regularly, but on the flip side of that, don't post mindlessly. What's mindless posting look like to you guys?
Well, I just think consumers are so savvy nowadays. They can see when it's kind of like something to try to bait you in. So you have to be, again, I think it comes back to connections, being authentic in those, and being relevant.
Yeah, and people don't want to just see a bunch of random, memes or
Sure.
or Chris spoke earlier how easy it is to post video. Hey everybody, happy Thanksgiving or whatever. That's fine, but that's you can only do so many of those before people quit caring.
Right.
It gets
about-
stale.
And that's what these
Yeah.
algorithm changes are about,
Yeah.
right? Like weeding things like that out and bubbling to the top,
Yeah.
the more important stuff. So instead of hey everybody, happy Thanksgiving, it's let me walk you through this backyard that I just, landscaped and show you what we've got going on, or let me give you a quick tutorial about how to change your own tire, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
but you're providing real quality content for your users.
Something with a purpose, that I
Right.
just
Sure.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Good thing about paid advertising on Facebook too is Facebook gives you this platform and this ability to target specific types of customers. So,
Right.
you go out there and post your organic posts for everybody to see. That's going to go into my feed with
Sure.
the other 300 people that I follow. And it may or may not get lost, but it's good activity. What you want to do is use that paid advertising to target specific demographics, specific types of customers, and in specific geo areas. So putting a little money towards it, like I said earlier, gives you the ability to get a very targeted ROI off of your advertising dollars.
So now with Facebook advertising, with that targeting, am I gonna see more reach? Am I gonna see more engagement? Am I gonna see both?
I would say you see.
Yeah, you just keep
You're
up.
gonna see
You're
both,
gonna
right?
see both.
So this goes back to support, right, what
Right.
we were
Yeah.
saying earlier about the fact that reach and engagement go hand in hand, right? So you
Sure.
boost that post, you target that audience, but now you know that you're seeing, that the people that are seeing that post are the right ones, right? We're not just throwing stuff at a wall.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want to just, because when we're talking about doing anything that costs money, a paid post, you want to be careful not to just throw a bunch of money at it and just see what sticks. You want to do it with much more purpose and planning. That way, we're just throwing money at the sticky parts of
Sure.
the wall.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that way, all of it sticks and has a purpose and some sort of benefit.
Yeah,
Okay.
so organic versus paid, I think both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that said, you're talking about throwing money at a wall, throwing money at the sticky parts of a wall. How much should I be spending on Facebook as a business?
There's no cookie cutter answer to that, but I can tell you, depending on the goals and maybe the I've seen in some markets, as little as $1 a day, people have seen results, put a real dent in it. There's that regularity again that's very important, and then beyond that, it would just depend on what the end game is, what results they want to see, how broad of a reach they want to capture, and what the audience is, the target. There are a lot of things that come into play, but that's what we do. We figure it out.
So what are the sorts of things that you're targeting on Facebook? So how can I target? What are the elements of that audience that I am able to target?
Yeah, I think you're able to, I know you're able to target, just about anything, honestly, on Facebook. If you know your customer, you know your consumer, there's typically a way to get in front of them. So you can target age demographics, geographical area. You can target different segments of
Their
consumers
interests.
and
Even-
things like their
even
interests.
gender. I mean, you
Even
get
gender
very
down to
specific.
it, very, very specifically to, like Nehemiah said, look at where the sticky parts on the wall, the sticky parts for you that may not be, the same as another consumer, but say, hey, these are my areas that I need to throw some money at, and boom, I'm gonna be able to throw it there.
So I imagine too that the amount you need to spend in order to go after that target audience is going to depend a bit about and on which type of audience you're looking for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I say too to customers, I talk to customers all day long that say, I don't have a big Facebook following, so down the road I'd like to look at Facebook advertising potentially. And I say, listen, if you have 10 followers, now's the time to start doing that. Target to those 10 people so they can share your post, help grow your following. So Facebook advertising is for everybody, no matter how big your following is. You still want to be putting some money towards it.
Sure.
There's 2 billion active users. We've said it 3-4 times now. You want to get in front of more of those people and not wait to get them. It's kind of the chicken before the egg
Sure.
situation. You can get out there as early as you can to get in front of more customers.
I don't think it takes a long time for a business owner too to kind of start realizing what's working. You can see, well, this worked this time, and this
Sure.
worked. So let's kind of follow pattern, kind of find our voice, so to speak,
Yeah,
and make sure that we're kind of consistent with it.
Yeah.
And tracking it, in
Yeah.
terms of seeing what got the most shares, what got the most likes, that sort of thing.
Right, and I think we're talking about, we're talking about this in light of the algorithm changes. So, our listeners today and our viewers today want to know, how do I see more engagement on Facebook in light of the algorithm changes? And I think this is a big do for us. So pick up your pen again, write this down. You'll find this in the download as well. Do leverage Facebook ads because we're talking about getting quality content in front of the right audience at the right time, getting this relevant content in front of them. And I think the idea with Facebook is, we haven't really touched on it yet. You have the ability to take posts that you've made on Facebook and boost them, put a little bit of advertising money behind them and get them in front of the right audience. But one of the things we haven't talked about is those posts and those ads have to be approved by Facebook. Mm-hmm. So you've got this natural filter where they're going to say, is this clickbait? Is this, something that's going to be in line with what we're trying to do? So you've kind of got that natural filter there. And I've seen it where something's gotten kicked back and they're saying, they're putting the onus on you as a business to say, we're not just going to let you throw money at this and put less than quality content up in front of our users. Mm-hmm. You've got to adhere to these standards. So I think it's naturally just a way to kind of get more reach, get more exposure, and therefore more engagement on your Facebook posts, but in a way that's natural and intuitive to what Facebook is trying to do for their users, right?
Yeah. We talked about it earlier. The good businesses who are doing good things, have good services, and who are doing the right things won't see a negative impact from these algorithm changes. They should only see a positive impact. They should get more engagement because Facebook's going to reward you for the good things that you're doing.
Right.
And if you're not, we give a lot of tips and tricks here. All over our website, there are tons of tips and tricks on Facebook. There's ways to go out there and learn what's a good post, what's a bad post. So you have your resources there too. But those businesses who are out there operating on above par right now aren't going to see a negative impact.
Yeah, it's getting rid of all the shady stuff that might be in their way.
Yeah.
It's clearing out all that clutter so that way there's nothing but reputable businesses out there being found.
Yeah, and you want to be one of the good ones. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Good news for our users. We're talking about this idea of good quality content, generating engagement. What is good engagement? Is there bad engagement? Is there one type of engagement that is better than others? And is there a specific type of engagement that Facebook is looking for us to be generating as businesses?
Listen, you mentioned it earlier, clickbait. That's the big, I think, hot button there. Is just good engagement is any engagement just typically is good engagement until you get into that realm of, like I said, clickbait. Like me and you'll get this. Go ahead and share this and you'll get this. That's a gimmick. That's a ploy to get fake likes and fake engagement. And Facebook's smart. They know that they're going to weed that out.
Yeah, likes are okay. I mean, I'll take them or leave them, but it's the true engagement. So the shares and reviews. I mean, reviews are powerful. There's a lot of stats behind that.
How do you get more reviews? Say I'm a business and I'm like, okay, great, but I don't have any reviews. How do I get them?
Ask for them.
Ask for them.
Yeah. What is it, 65%? I think 65% of users who get asked to leave a review will do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful. Do
Yeah.
that. Ask.
I think businesses are sometimes afraid to ask. So I want to be clear though here, we're talking about, Chris brought up the idea of engagement bait. So here's another time you're going to want to pick up your pen and write this down. One of our big don'ts is don't use engagement bait. If there's anything that Facebook has made clear with these algorithm changes, it is engagement bait is bad and you will get dinged for that. So when we're talking about engagement bait, we go into a lot more detail about engagement bait in our downloads, so make sure you get those. But when we're talking about just anything where you're asking for some sort of engagement, asking for likes, asking for shares. Now, asking for a review is not the same as asking someone to like your post or asking someone to comment or share. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you have that distinction in your head because there is no problem with asking for a review. As Chris said, you're going to get one.
Yeah.
So, but what are some, is a share or a page follow, are those better than likes or comments?
I would always want somebody to share my content.
Yeah.
If somebody's
marketing,
sharing,
right?
Well, and if somebody's sharing my content, it typically comes from a place that they are actually enjoying it or intrigued by what you're putting out there.
Facebook started out as a way for you to stay connected with your
Right.
friends. It's evolved to stay connected with businesses. That's the roots of Facebook. That good engagement is where they started. So don't forget about that, and don't be afraid to ask people to come and follow you and things like that. It's really that back and forth of, if you do this, then I'll do this
Right.
situation. It's
Sure.
more like, hey, I have a good product to offer you.
Right.
Let me come and follow me so I can share it with you. Come see us. That's just
Sure.
asking to be able to provide a good service to a customer. It's a little bit different than engagement based. So there is a fine line sometimes, but it's not too hard to not be shady. And you know when a
Yeah.
post isn't too
Right.
good.
Yeah.
You know when you're putting
We've
it
all
out
seen
there.
those, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So I think we've really delved into a lot of this and a lot of the the good things to do to get you in there. We've shared a lot of do's and don'ts. I'd like us to real quickly review kind of what we've already spoken about, just to give folks a time to like soak it all in. Those of you that are watching on Facebook Live and on 24, get those questions coming in about 2 minutes here. We're going to dive into the Q&A because we want to leave plenty of time for you guys to submit your questions, because this is really about you. As businesses out there, we want to make sure that you're getting the information that you need in order to arm yourself and equip yourself for great engagement on Facebook, and really to have the best success that you can as a business owner today. So that said, type those questions in. And let's just go back through it. Like, where do we start? Where are we going? What did we cover today? What's the high points?
Well, of course, just first of all, the presence and the relevance of Facebook in general. We established, we're talking about 2 billion people, so there's no denying the size of the audience, and then within that, there's something for everybody. So, and as Chris touched on earlier, the origins of that were always based on just keeping people in touch, people you know that you want to keep in touch with, so you trust those people's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And if they refer someone to you as a business, you're going to trust that more than maybe some ad.
Mm-hmm.
So now that it's become a tool for businesses, it still has those underlying roots, that this is a large audience with a network of people who trust each other and will listen to each other's opinions.
And a lot of times too, if you're referred to a business, your research is pretty much done for you by the time you click on their page and then take a few minutes and find yourself, wow, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this. You've already learned so much about the business that would be, I mean, if nothing else, it's efficient.
Yeah, you mean not
You
need to
know,
go anywhere else?
You don't need to go
Yeah.
anywhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, and with it being that important and that engaging and things like that, we know it's not going anywhere. So it's
Right.
not going anywhere. Businesses need to be on that. By being on there, we know, listen, I'm going to give you some of my information. I'm going to put myself a little bit at risk, but Facebook's addressing a lot of those things, and there's some situations that we put ourselves in, but we know it's not going anywhere. It's worth the risk versus reward. It's there. You don't want to neglect Facebook.
Yeah, I think that's really the bottom line here. I mean, we all know it. You don't want to neglect Facebook, but I think we could probably sum everything that we've said today up in just a few words, which is it's all about connections, right? That's the root of what Facebook is. It's why they're so popular in the first place. You want to be making authentic connections, provide good quality content, and what it really boils down to is 9 times out of 10, those of you that are here, you care about your business, you want to see your business succeed, you're probably a good, honest business that's doing the right thing in the first place. So with very minimal modifications to your kind of everyday business practices on Facebook, you're going to be able to see continued success and engagement. And you're going to be able to like really kind of keep going without seeing too much negative impact, if any at all. So I think bottom line, there's some really good news here for businesses, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we are going to jump right into the Q&A. We've got a lot of questions coming in from you as our users, so we're going to jump right in. Keep those questions coming. Our first question is, with Facebook's new rules, can I still run contests and promotions on my Facebook page without getting in trouble? That's great. I mean, we were talking about engagement bait.
Yeah.
Can you still do fun things?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question, because I think you can get worried if you're saying, oh, there's all these new rules. So 100%, you can still run contests. You can still run all of these great promotions around your business, deals, percentages off, things like that. It's when you get into the realm of like this post and you'll be entered into this contest, like this post, follow me on Facebook in order to get this deal and things like that. That's where you get into trouble. Listen, put out good, authentic content. Put out a contest that engages customers, that gives them something, helps bring them to your business, but don't put a stipulation on it. Don't put if you do this, then I'll do this situation. That's where you get into trouble. So yeah, run contests. Contests are very successful, and
Sure.
contests also help show you a huge ROI. When you know someone walked through the door and said, hey, I saw you on Facebook, I'm gonna use this 10% off code that I saw on there. That's fantastic. That's how you know there's a direct ROI from Facebook. It makes the connection a lot more black and white for you. So yeah, absolutely run contests and things like that. Just be careful when you're asking someone to do something in order to get entered into your contest, to get this, and I'll do this, and you do that.
I think you innately know if it doesn't feel right, or could this be conveyed as a little tricky, then you probably just shouldn't do it. You should probably rethink the way you want to run your contest, or just do what feels right and feels natural.
Or like promotions. I mean, for instance, when we do webinars such as this, if you register for the webinar, you have access to special offers and free downloads, but we're not saying, you must like this or you must share this in order to access this. We're providing something that we think, and hopefully you guys too, feel that is of value to our customers, and in exchange, we'll give you something for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great. All right, next question. How do you recommend a business handle unruly customers that only want to bash us? Ugh. As a business, there has to be a basic way to diffuse these customers without hurting ourselves. I don't know who wants to answer this one. We have our resident expert that kind of handles, some things like that sometimes.
Yeah, and I know we've all kind of been in similar positions before too. The big thing, I associate this with reviews. I mean, it's the same thing as reviews. You get a negative review online, what do? Take it offline. You don't want to get into a heated battle with your customers. But
now, you're not recommending take the review down. You're take the discussion
Clarify.
offline.
Take the
Give me a
discussion
call.
offline.
Okay, yeah, I just want to
Sorry
be
you had
clear
this
for our
experience.
customers.
Give me a call. Let's figure this out.
Let's figure this out, exactly.
Right.
So take the discussion offline. You don't want to have this back and forth banter with a customer. That's not going to make you look too good as a business. So take the discussion offline.
Other people will see that. The
Yeah.
worst thing you can do is
Nothing.
not respond to it
Yeah.
and
Right.
hope that the
Perfect.
good ones sort of muscle out the one bad one.
Right.
You still want to respond to that, and quickly too. Like if the next guy that gets on there and sees, even if it was a bad review, but they see that you got right on there that day
Yep.
and said, hey, I'm sorry about your experience. Give us a call here. My name's John. I'll ask for me, and we'll
Sure.
see what we got to do to take care of you. That looks good. So,
Yeah, you can actually turn that in your favor. That shows your clients, your potential customers,
Yeah.
hey, they care about their business.
And they're active.
They want to make this right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, is this also a good time to then also be balancing it, like asking? I mean, obviously, we're all going to get bad reviews a time or two. We can't keep everybody happy, right? Like, it's going to happen. But is this also a good time to be asking for reviews from other people as well, from other customers?
I tell people all the time, business owners, if somebody loves what you do and they are a repeat customer or something like that, ask them, hey, next time you're on Facebook, if you wouldn't mind, just give me a review. And like he said, 64% of the time they're going to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you can use that to your benefit as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great ideas. Great for sure. Okay, next question. What exactly is boosting a post? I clicked on this once and spent $10 to boost a post on our company's Facebook and have no clue what it even did. All right, so maybe this is one where we clarify a little bit what we've been talking about, the difference between ads and boosted posts, where they show up.
So we've been talking exactly about that.
Boosted
boosting
posts.
There are ads and there are other things that can get confusing, but when we talk about the organic versus paid, and how you kind of need a bit of both to stay regular and relevant, that paid is what we're talking about, the boosting the posts. So
Okay.
to answer as far as what is it, it still comes in your feed, but it's more by design to go out to people, whoever you targeted that it's relevant to.
So it's going to show up in the news feed,
Yeah,
right?
it shows in the newsfeed, shows up a little bit higher, doesn't get lost, and pushed down by all the other organic posts and things like that. So you can
It stays there longer too.
Yep, yeah,
as opposed
exactly,
to
for a certain
organic.
amount of time, certain time periods and things like that. So it gives you the ability to, control your experience or control your posts a little bit.
So we're not talking about, just to clarify, we're not talking about those ads that you see in the right rail on Facebook, right? So to answer this user's question very succinctly, when you click on boost a post, that is going to take one of your posts, right, whichever post you click boost on, is going to take something you've already posted to Facebook, and it's going to expand its reach, get it in front of more eyeballs, and hopefully increase some engagement. So that is boosting a post is what we have been talking about as a paid post today. So
That allows people that aren't already following you or friends with
Exactly.
you to start seeing your
Yes.
information in their feed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there are ways to track what it does. I
Yeah.
know this person had an issue trying to figure out, they couldn't even identify what benefit it was to them. There are ways to track that, it's maybe a little time, a little homework.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's like firing up a chainsaw for the first time without
Yep.
ever reading the manual.
Yeah.
It could be a little dangerous. So
Right.
you want to look into that before we.
Hopefully you wouldn't be doing as much damage with a boosted post as you are with a chainsaw if you're using it uneducated. But yeah, so definitely I think you can check into your page insights and you'll see what benefit that boosted had. You'd be able to see how much reach, how much engagement, the different types of engagement, that sort of thing. So definitely something to explore. If you are still confused about what a boosted post is and what it does, give us a call.
Yeah.
One of these guys here or anybody here can explain to you what it does, and we can actually even help you manage some of that if you would like. So definitely a really beneficial tool within Facebook. All right, another question. We have a question from a user that says, can I keep my personal profile separate from my business profile on social media? Do I need to have a Facebook page to advertise on Facebook? So kind of two questions there. Let's dive right in. Do
Yes.
I need to have a
Keep
business
it separate.
page?
Yeah.
Keep it separate.
Keep it
Do I need to
separate.
have a page? Yeah. Okay.
Your personal page, I mean, you can share on your personal page some of the things you put on your professional page or your business page,
Sure.
but they should absolutely be two separate things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
two
Nobody
totally
wants to
separate
see your
things.
baby.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they do, but
Maybe they do.
Yeah, and part to that question, yes, you need to have a Facebook page to be on Facebook. You need to have a Facebook page to advertise on Facebook.
Yep.
But like Carla said, advertise your business with a business page, advertise yourself with your personal page, keep them separate.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I think, jokingly, I was saying, nobody wants to see your baby. But truthfully, Carla, you were saying in another question that we answered that so much of the research, can be done for consumers on Facebook if you have a Facebook page. I think you were talking in a conversation we had the other day about you saw somebody that was looking for a recommendation,
Yeah.
right? For, I think, maybe a friend's asphalt company,
Right.
and you were like, oh, I know somebody, and you went to type in the name of the friend and it automatically populated with their Facebook page, right? So if you don't have that, there's more steps, and the more steps that are needed for a consumer to take, the more likely
Right.
they'll drop off and be like, whatever, it's too hard.
I mean, she learned enough about him briefly just from following that little link
Yeah.
that was populated. She didn't have to make a phone call. She
Yeah.
didn't have to look for their, it was all right there.
It's all right there. Yeah. Wouldn't have been able to do that unless he had a Facebook
Right.
page, right? So, so much of that consumer journey can actually happen right on Facebook if you have a business Facebook page that's populated with good quality information, right?
And as a side note, that was an older gentleman.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a gentleman that's near 70 years old, so.
The one that asked for the recommendation or the business
No,
owner?
the business owner.
There you go.
And actually, and the gal that asked for the recommendation was in her early 20s, probably
Okay.
a first-time homeowner,
Yeah.
looking for an asphalt company. I automatically thought of my friend's dad, and I thought, it's kind of neat. Just that shows you just the depth of
Diversity
the
of people,
demographic,
yeah, yeah.
So it's just a neat way to look at somebody who's been marketing their business for 40 years, and he knows.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I got to be here.
Yeah.
You know.
That
for
one
everybody.
example hammers home a lot of things. I mean, the older generation on Facebook, not necessarily the most attractive business in the world,
Right.
an asphalt business, but they're still on Facebook getting
Yeah.
business from it, sharing their pictures of their great driveways. So it hammers home the point. I think that Facebook truly is for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you were just saying. Facebook's for everybody. Great. All right. When we talk about, next question, when we're talking about posting regularly and posting high quality content that is relevant, how often should I post? Is there a rule?
I don't think there are rules necessarily. There are definitely guidelines, and you don't want to, like I said, spam and just post every hour on the hour mindlessly. Like I said, if you have something engaging, you definitely want to be out there pushing it out, and you want to be consistent. It goes back to the SEO value of
Yeah.
Facebook. If you're not consistent, trust kind of drops off a little bit. So, I'd say you want to make sure that you're consistent, but not spamming your customers and not posting mindlessly. So, I don't know if there's an exact number on exactly when to, how much to post and things like that, other than feel it out.
Well, I think let's give them, and I'm going to push us on this because I think it's a question that's asked a lot. And I think people probably get frustrated because they don't get any hard and fast results or answers. So one of the things I'm going to throw out there, I know, we do offer full service social media management here. And as part of that, we kind of give about a handful of posts a week. I'll call it a handful, right? Anywhere from 4 to 6 maybe a week. So I think that, obviously you're not limited to that, but I'd say, if you're plus or minus that a little bit, like you're good, but I mean, it's definitely, I would say definitely got to be weekly, and definitely multiple
I'd
times a week.
say every few days.
Almost,
Yeah.
almost daily. Some of our most successful business owners are daily.
Yeah.
Because they have the time or they have someone doing that for them.
Yeah, yeah.
But as long as it's regular, whatever it is, whether it's every day, every other day, every week, just keep it like a steady pulse.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
too rigid, but
I think
regular.
Nehemiah and I've talked, or I've mentioned before, I've looked at people's Facebook pages. So somebody's referred me to them. And I look at their page and I'm like, oh, they haven't posted for 3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's great to have a Facebook page, but you have to be,
Well, I'd
up
even
to
say
date.
it's been
Because-
since last
because-
month,
but-
even,
but I mean,
or
if
like
you're
a couple
talking
weeks.
years-
I start to wonder, like, are they still in
oh,
business?
absolutely,
I'm gonna go to the next
Right,
one.
and that's
I'm
what I
gonna
say.
go to the next
After a
one.
few years, like, is this business even
Yeah.
around? And
Yeah.
if you're running an excellent business, your excellence should be mirrored on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of the things that we're talking about, we've been talking about is don't post mindlessly. So it is going to put a little bit of pressure on you to be like, okay, what can I post? But let me tell you, we've got so many resources out there. Go to vivial.net/resources. We've got blog posts, we've got white papers, we've got past webinars, we've got free downloads where we talk about like social media checklists, like ideas for types of things to post. Like definitely there's things that we can do to help get your juices flowing, but just be mindful of the fact when we talk about being mindful about what you're posting, just make sure it has some value. Like it doesn't take that long to post a couple pictures of a job you did. Like
Yeah.
Chris said with video, you also have a great camera in your pocket, and I'm sorry, but even a business that is not so sexy like asphalt,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna choose an asphalt company, I wanna make sure my driveway is gonna look good. If I'm
Right.
gonna drop that much money on a new driveway, it better look good. So take some pictures
Take
with your
some
phone.
video of guys rolling
Yeah,
up the drive.
yeah,
It's-
exactly,
people
exactly.
love it.
It's not
Love the
hard to
video.
generate that
Yeah.
quality content.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we've got a lot of questions coming in, so we're going to move on. We're going to answer another 5 or 6. But one of the next questions, this is a big one, and everybody has this problem. My ads seem to have too much text. I have tried a picture with a comment about what I want to promote. I have engagement, but the phone doesn't ring. What am I doing wrong? Lots of questions here. This is a pretty complex and loaded question here. Anybody want to take a stab at it?
There's a lot of directions that could go. I'd have
Yeah.
to see the ad.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so I can tell you what best practice is what we do here at
Sure.
Vivial. So when it's a long form post, when it's something that's a lot more meaty, that you have a lot of points you want to hammer home, what we do here at Vivial is we write a custom blog post for our customers and we link that to Facebook. Got a little bit of a teaser, with
Right.
that, a nice picture that shows engaging. But then then you're able to click from that off of that site, go to our our near say page we use for
Sure.
all of our clients to get a little more meat in there. So think about your audience. Your audience on Facebook is looking for a little more quick, hey, picture, video, little snapshot here of some information. And if you're typically looking into getting into the more long form posts and I really got a big message I got to get out there, that's when you might want to start linking back and forth to your website or to some blog posts and things like that. So that's a good way that helps get the phone ringing for our clients.
Yeah.
Is they transfer over there, get a little more information that they need. Oh, here's our website linked up to that article as well.
Sure.
I can go there, get all the information I need. Now I'm ready to pick up the phone and call. You scrolling through your Facebook feed, you might say, I don't have time to read all of that right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
But if I got a link and I clicked on it, okay, now I'm looking at it. Maybe I'll leave it up on my desktop even if I don't have time
Right.
right now. So we
Or
use a little
come
bit of a
back to it
balance.
later.
Come back to
Right.
it later. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think there's a couple other things too, like the phone doesn't ring, what am I doing wrong? That's a bit of a hard question to answer without knowing a little bit more about your business. It could be a couple of things. It could be, are you off season, right? So maybe you're posting something to keep yourself top of mind, but you're a pool business. Maybe I'm not quite ready to have someone come and install a pool or come clean my pool or repair my pool for this summer. I'm engaging with the content, but I'm not quite ready. So there may be that. You may also have a longer buying cycle. So for some of the bigger things, You know, we understand that like it may take longer for that buying cycle to complete. There's a slew of reasons that you may not be having your phone ring just yet. This is where, you know, I would suggest that you guys just reach out to us. We can have a longer conversation. We can actually look at your Facebook presence, give you some tips and tricks that are specific to your business. But this is where I would definitely give us a call. You know, we have experts here that are, you know, trained in how to look at this and give you tips and tricks and so on and so forth. So I would just recommend, if you really want a more in-depth analysis of why your phone specifically is not ringing, I would definitely give us a call, because other than that, we're just kind of speculating. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so next question. How do you grow authentic followers when you are marketing for a more boring industry, such as healthcare, specifically and urgent care? I'm already doing lots of health tips, etc., but still crickets. We've all felt this. Especially, like, I don't know about you, but like when I create like what I think is a really cool post, I'm like, oh, this is awesome, it's gonna rock. And then it's like, one like, you know, and you're like, well, what in the world, you know, this is like really quality content, right? Like, what do you say to somebody like that?
Yeah, urgent care specifically, we're talking about that. I think top of mind. Urgent care is, for me, is saying right time, right place. I mean, you never know when people are going to need urgent care in situations. So this specific example, this specific question, then I'd go to the consistency of your posts and things like that. If you're not getting a good engagement, take a look at why you're not getting. When are you posting? You know, do's and don'ts. Hey, I'm posting every day at 2 o'clock. I get nothing. Stop posting at 2 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
Go to a different time. Try diversifying what you're posting. Post case studies, testimonials. Get a little bit of diversity in there. And again, look at what's working, what's not. If you ever get a post that just blows up, take a look at what was good about that post. I'm going to replicate that success as often as possible. And if you're not getting good things, don't do those things anymore. Get diverse in there. Try a little bit, some different things on your Facebook page.
Yeah. I might actually say too, in the case of you know, an urgent care, I might say too, you know, think about what the primary concerns of your audience are. Like, what are those primary concerns? You know, being healthy, yes, but unfortunately, a healthy population is not a good population for an urgent care clinic. You know, you kind of, there needs to be a little demand there, and I'm not saying you suggest your users go out there and get injured. However, to Chris's point, you want them to have you top of mind, right? So really what it's all about for somebody like that is exposure, right? Getting that broad exposure and awareness, right? Also, you know, what to do in a situation that might happen, you know, always ending with call us, come to us, you know, that sort of thing. Things about your hours, like they want to know that maybe you have better hours than anybody else. Is there something that you provide that no other urgent care in your area does? And, you know, this might be one where I might try a little bit of targeting.
Yeah.
Target those moms. I mean, I'm sorry, dads, but moms are very often the ones taking the kids to urgent care, right? Moms are the ones that you kind of want to know, because even if dad's taking the kids to urgent care, if it's anything like my husband's, be, where do I take her? What do I do? Who do I go? Like,
When Junior's sick, where do I go?
Exactly.
A picture of a kid. I mean, just that kind of thing.
Yeah. And you know what? Bottom line, like, I think this is another one where if you're still stumped, maybe you've been doing everything that we've done. I think maybe at this point, I would give us a call. We can give you some more specific ideas.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to reach out to the marketing experts. Nobody knows your business better than you. Nobody knows our business better than us. Reach out to us for that marketing expertise.
Yeah.
Do what you can to make sure you stand out, so that way when the time comes, you're first to mind.
It's already
Some
there.
kind of
Right.
incentive why they should call you, because you can't predict when they're going to need you in the healthcare. There's a lot of those industries. They don't have that glamorous fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it's a lot easier if you're just a DJ business where you
Yeah.
can post all this cool, flashy, fun stuff. But when you're in healthcare, and basically you're limited to things like articles of, you know, tips for this and that, maybe how-to suggestions. Still keep it relevant and point yourself out as the answer for when they need to call someone. Give them a reason to call you.
Heck, you know, you're talking about testimonials and whatnot. Like, when I think urgent care, I think of a long, long wait in a waiting room.
Right.
So if you happen to be in urgent care that gets people in and out quick, but still with quality care, post the heck out of that and let them know, hey, we've got the shortest wait
Shortest
times
wait
in the community. I'm gonna drive 5 minutes out of my way or 10 minutes out of my way to not have to wait 3 hours in your waiting room. So yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Just all about providing that quality care. All right, last question, guys, because we're really running out of time, but I want to encourage you, keep sending your questions. Even though this is the last one, we will track them and we will try to make sure that someone reaches out and answers your question after the fact, because we want to make sure all of your questions are great questions and we want to make sure that you get the answers you need. If you don't have time to list your question, always just give us a call. Also, don't forget to download our 2 free downloads, right? You want those tips and tricks and you want to see the examples of victories, how to put those tips and tricks into practice. Also, don't forget you have access to a very, very, very special limited time offer to get that free video. I'm sorry, but video is a hot item this year. Like we've been talking about it in everything that we've been doing on our blog, in our white papers, everything today. Like 2018 is the year of video, so you're gonna really want to see the impact that a video can have on your marketing efforts, especially on Facebook. So make sure that you take advantage of that special offer and contact us, make that purchase, and get that free video. All right, last question. How would you distinguish between posts that are good for Facebook versus posts that are good for LinkedIn? Is there a difference? Do these do's and don'ts apply to LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those social profiles as well?
Typically, LinkedIn is business to business. Posts that work really well on LinkedIn are business to business. Posts that work really well for business on Instagram are very visual.
Yeah.
And Facebook kind of can do it all.
Yeah.
You can kind of have the opportunity to harness all of those different medias with Facebook. It's very, all encompassing, I think.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's a community of businesses. Facebook's a community of just everybody.
Yeah.
And Instagram can be kind of both, but
Yeah.
I would say, of course, that's probably a whole nother webinar. We'll talk about Instagram. But,
Yeah.
I would say watch out from anything too wordy.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
people are used to just scrolling through pictures, maybe a quick phrase or something that catches their attention. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read someone's affirmation of
Not on
2
Instagram.
paragraphs.
Asphalt companies, maybe not quite so great on Instagram, right?
Yeah, just know your audience, know your platform. Know who you're trying to talk to, and each platform will have different rules. There's resources out there to know those rules. I'd say in general, a lot of the do's and don'ts we've had could apply somewhere or another. Again, being a reputable business, putting good content out there, that's going to be universal. But definitely get out there and read about the different platforms. Know your audience, know who's on each platform and how you need to target them.
Sure.
Yep.
Awesome. Great advice as always. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today, whether you were on Facebook Live or on the On24 platform. You can always give us a call. You can find that phone number on our website. Also, you want to go to vivial.net. You can access our resources. This webinar, which will be up there in about a day, you can access at vivial.net/webinars. You can also access our blog, different white papers, free downloads. So don't forget to access all of that. Give us a call. Really, whatever you want to do. The bottom line is we are here for you. We exist to help businesses like you. We hope you found today's content valuable, helpful, and we want to really see you guys all on Facebook and getting that awesome engagement. So with that, have a great afternoon, everyone, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks so much.